Hello everyone, we are going to get started. First, I would like to thank everyone for attending this webinar. It means a lot to myself and to the whole TH101 community. I'm Uflia, the head of marketing and communications in TN Health 101. And now I would like to introduce our founder, Valerie Guerra. So Valerie, she is a junior in high school in New Jersey. She's a straight A student. She's the editor-in-chief for her school newspaper. Her family is full of nurses. She's the vice president of her school's DECA club, the web manager of her school's chapter of the nonprofit Foundation for International Medical Relief of Children. The experience and interest from all these activities led Valerie to found the online nonprofit organization Teen Health 101. Inspired by the current events and her personal journey through health and fitness, Valerie founded the Teen Health 101 organization to help those lost in the masses of the health resources available and combat the spread of misinformation.
Thank you for that introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm Valerie, as we mentioned before. I started Teen Health 101 after going through a personal fitness journey of mine where I kind of learned how to become healthier, kind of work out more at the gym, and I've kind of realized how much misinformation there is out there, especially during this time of quarantine and where everyone's kind of getting all their information online and stuff like that. So I founded Teen Health 101 to kind of combat the spread of information, specifically online, obviously, as I mentioned before, and on social media. So yeah, Teen Health 101 is an online initiative, student-led initiative that creates reliable resources about health and fitness and science to educate and inform the youth. Our mission is to combat the spread of misinformation and misleading facts and become a platform for the youth to find simple and accurate information about all things health. Teen Health 101 utilizes modern day forms of communication such as our website, blog posts, social media, podcasts, and other things to accomplish this mission. Some topics that we frequently cover across all of our platforms include, but aren't limited to, mental health, nutrition, and fitness. So I would also like to introduce Pranali. She's our Teen Health 101 Outreach Manager, and she will be today's moderator. So we're going to move on to our wonderful speakers. First up is Sonal. Sonal, I'm so sorry. Did I say?
No, you're fine. All right. First of all, thank you so much to Teen Health 101 for having me here today. I'm so excited to speak to all of you guys. So like Valerie said, my name is Sonal and I go to St. Bonaventure University. So I'm part of a BSMD program. So after my 4 years at Bonus, I'll go to GW Med School. So I know a lot of you guys are high school seniors. So just so you know, kind of the timeline for that was October of my senior year, I applied to Bonaventure and I had to submit a secondary to GW as well. And then in the end of January, Bonaventure invited me for an interview. So I interviewed there and then they forwarded my application to GW. And then I interviewed at GW in Washington, D.C. Around, I would say, mid-February, around Valentine's Day. And then I received my acceptance in March. And I had until 1st of May, just like everyone else does, to accept my admission, but I did commit in March because I absolutely love the program, especially after touring both schools. I knew that that was the place for me. And at Bonaventure, I'm a biology major and a business admin minor, and I'll definitely talk about that a little bit more on later slides, why I picked those two. Some activities that I'm involved with include MERT. So MERT is our medical emergency response team. So I'm from New Jersey, so I have a New Jersey EMT license. I got it when I was 16 years old. I think the age requirements have changed a little bit, so you can't get it until you're 18, but back when I got it, I was able to get it younger. And then when I came to Bonaventure, it's located in New York, so I was just able to transfer over my application by contacting the Department of Health. So I got my New York license. So every month I take a few 24-hour shifts and I can get a call during class, I can get it in the middle of the night. So whenever I get a call, I just have to be ready to respond. So it's been a great learning opportunity. And through MER, I also was able to get a job through the university as a club sports EMT. So I mostly work with men and women's rugby and co-ed volleyball, and I covered those sports. I'm also part of the American Society for Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, and through that club, we go out into the local community, especially the elementary and middle schools, and we help them do some science activities, and it's a lot of fun. They're really cute, and I also help make videos for the campus community and all about COVID, and again, combating misinformation about that. I also work as a student ambassador, so I work a few days a week giving tours to high school seniors, and lately Bonaventure has been adding a bunch of new grad programs. So most recently they've added a PA program, so we've had a lot of applicants from that, so I've been giving a few grad student tours as well. And I'm also a peer coach. So as a peer coach, I basically help incoming freshmen in their transition from high school to college. So during welcome days, which is kind of the few days that the freshmen get here early and they have an orientation, I helped out with orientation activities. And then during the school year, I help out if they need questions about like course requirements or extracurriculars or even like stuff going on in their personal life. I'm a resource for them. My freshman year, I also participated in the freshman leadership program, which is basically we go through different sections of campus. So the ministry center, the diversity center, the ROTC program, and we learn about what it means to be a leader. And then now as a junior and also last year as a sophomore, I help the freshmen go through the program as well and kind of help them find their path to leadership. And last but certainly not least, I'm on the dance team at Bonaventure. So we dance halftime at basketball games, and we mostly do hip hop for that. And then we do like jazz, contemporary, tap, anything like that. Every single semester we put on a show. So it could be anywhere from Grease to High School Musical. And so that has been definitely my favorite activity on campus. And of course, as a pre-med, it's super important to have hobbies to help you de-stress. So baking, yoga, and biking are all my favorite things to do. All right, so answering some of your guys' most common questions. So as for course requirements, every school has a different course requirement. So you definitely have to check on their website what they're looking for, but these are just personally ones that GW recommended for me. So I do have to take a full year of Gen Bio and then an upper level course. And also, since I'm a bio major, I have taken genetics and cell bio and the lab associated with that, even though it's not necessary. So it really depends on what program you're going to, what your major is, what med school wants. So it all depends on that. I also am taking a semester of biochem, a full year of both gen chem and orgo, and one semester of physics. And again, as a bio major, I have to take a full year of it, but at least the med school is not requiring it. Also recommended was psych and soc, both of which I took. I haven't taken statistics, but going through being a bio major, I would highly recommend it. I did take Calc 2 though. As for extracurriculars, I would kind of organize them into medically related and non-medically related. So if you are applying to just a 4-year college program, you don't necessarily have to have medically related extracurriculars. But if you are a college student applying to med school, or if you're a high school student applying to a BSMD or BSDO program, you definitely should have some medically related extracurriculars. So stuff that I personally did was I started off as a hospital volunteer, and then I got my New Jersey EMT license, as I said before, and I worked as an EMT for a little bit, and then I shadowed a nephrologist for a summer, and then I also shadowed a internal medicine physician and a cardiologist, but that was after the fact that I had been accepted into my program. I know a lot of my other friends did research at local colleges or medical schools, and they scribed, and they got their certified nursing assistant certificates and stuff like that. As for non-medically related extracurriculars, I definitely participated in a lot of them. In high school, I was really active in musical theater. So my senior year, I directed Legally Blonde, and that was so much fun. And I've definitely carried that on to college as part of the dance team. I also was on the e-board of our yearbook club, and I was the editor-in-chief of our school newspaper. So you definitely don't have to do just like extracurriculars related to medicine or even science. You can definitely branch out and do whatever you're interested in. I know a lot of my friends also were involved with sports or music or debate, or basically anything you want to do or anything that interests you. As for your major, it really doesn't matter what your major is. Just because I'm a biology major doesn't necessarily mean that's the right thing to do. I'm just a bio major because I like biology, but you really can do anything at all. I know other people in my program, so there's 5 of us, and I'm the only bio major. Other people are majoring in philosophy, history, sociology, childhood studies. So you can literally major in anything as long as you take your prereqs and your other courses. So as for my program specifically, you do have to have either a BS or BA degree, but if you are applying to med school, definitely check out their page, but I believe that any 4-year program will do as long as you're taking those requirements. Okay, so more stuff specifically about me. Why did I choose to be a bio major and a business minor? So the short answer is I absolutely love all my courses. There's no other major that's offered in my school that I'd rather do. I love the fact that I get to take a little bit of everything. So obviously I'm taking a lot of bio classes and a bunch of chem classes, some physics. I like the broad range of the bio program, and probably the most important part of the bio program at my school is that I can take research for credit. And so I'm super active in research, and I've been involved in it since my sophomore year of college. And it's really cool because if you're taking it for credit, that kind of frees up more time in your schedule, because it is hard kind of as a full-time student taking like 17 or 18 classes, credits worth of classes, and then having to do research on the side too. It's really convenient if 2 of the credits that I'm taking are research. So definitely, if you're interested in research, make sure that your college offers research for credit as part of your program, and those count as elective courses for my bio major. So we have to take 3 elective courses, and research counts as 2 of them. So it's very convenient to do research. As for business, my favorite part of the business program is that it's giving me a lot of real life application. I started off not knowing what business was at all until I took an accounting course my sophomore year of college, and I absolutely loved it. My professor was amazing, and the best part about it is that he's a practicing accountant. He has his own firm, and then he just comes in the evenings and afternoons to teach. So he literally worked from 9 to 3, and then he came in at 4 to teach us about accounting. So there wasn't anything he taught us that wasn't relevant to what he was doing. So it was super relevant courses. And after learning more about business, I started also learning more about healthcare leadership and healthcare policy. And that's definitely something I want to go into in the future. So having that business background is definitely going to be super helpful for that. As for having or not having good grades, if you don't have good grades, I was totally in the same boat. As a high school student, I had pretty average grades. I got lots of C's and D's on tests, and then my teachers were pretty nice to me and let me do test corrections, and I got those rounded up to B's. So I had very average grades. So I really had to change my study habits when I came to college. And so a lot of things that helped me were moving from passive ways of studying to active ways of studying. So in high school, I used to study by just sitting in front of my laptop and watching videos or just reading my textbook. And more active ways of studying would include like getting together with a friend and quizzing each other, or making Quizlets or Anki, and also whiteboarding. So I take my notes and I kind of make mind maps, do like compare and contrast, see how my information is relating to each other. Maybe if information from a first test relates to information from a second test or anything like that. And then also something I like to call the Crossoff Technique. And so I basically make a list of all the topics I'm covering. So for example, I just had a biochem test. So I just made a big list of all the topics that I needed to learn. And I look at each topic and then I write down or I say every single thing I know about it. And if I get it right, then I'll just cross it off. And then if I don't, I just keep going through and make sure that I know everything. And then when everything is crossed off, I know that I know everything for sure. Also, I had to change my time management. Basically, when I was in high school, I used to come home and I used to just like take a nap or not do anything until like after dinner. And I was like, oh my gosh, now I have so much work to do. So making sure that I'm being more productive each time of the day and then taking breaks rather than doing nothing for a while and then doing all my schoolwork and being rushed towards the end of the night. And obviously, it's not a secret that being pre-med comes with a ton of hard work. And always remember that one bad test grade or one bad grade in a course is not going to change your trajectory too much. If you want to be a doctor with tons of hard work, nothing can stop you. And as for knowing that I wanted to be a physician, so when I was pretty young, I was diagnosed with scoliosis and I had to wear a back brace because of it. So I was in and out of the doctors a lot, whether it was getting MRIs, getting checkups. I potentially considered surgery for a little bit as well. But at the end of the day, I did decide to stick with a back brace. And I remember when I was young, I was telling my mom and she was like, you have to put your back brace on. And I really didn't want to because it was very, very painful to put it on. And I was like, being a doctor is the worst thing you can do because this is so painful and I don't understand why I have to go through something so painful. And obviously now that I'm older and more mature, I appreciate what my doctors did for me because wearing a back brace definitely improved my quality of life and helped alleviate a lot of the back pain that I was experiencing. And so probably my most formative experience was shadowing as a pre-med or shadowing as a high school student, and that ultimately made me fall in love with medicine. And as for any tips to current students aiming to become a physician, I would say that comparison is probably the worst thing you can do. Everyone is on their own path. Everyone has their own unique set of circumstances and a unique set of resources available to yourself. So definitely don't compare yourself to anyone and just stay focused and do what you have to do. I know a lot of people get wrapped up in, oh, they're volunteering for this many hours and they're doing all these extracurriculars and their grades are this. Why aren't mine this? And so comparison can really bring you down sometimes. So yeah. And then I just wanted to put this up there just in case anyone was interested and wanted to take a picture of it. So first thing I want to say is that I didn't take all these courses in just one semester. These were divided up over the whole year, so don't get too intimidated. I am also part of the honors program, which is why you see some courses are prefaced with the word honors. So I had to take 2 lower level honors classes and 3 upper level honors classes. And so that was kind of how my honors program worked. And then the last course under sophomore year says healthcare ethics. And I actually took that when I studied abroad in Italy over my winter semester of sophomore year. So that was a really fun experience. If you have any questions about study abroad, I can definitely answer them because I would highly recommend it to anyone who can study abroad. And I also paid for that on my own. So if you have any questions about like working and financing your study abroad, I can also answer those. And then my next slide is basically the same thing. It just has my junior and senior year classes on that. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys.
Hey guys, my name is Juhi and I'm a junior at Virginia Tech in Southwest Virginia, and I'm studying biochemistry and French. Thank you guys for having me here. I'm going to talk a little bit about my path right now and then my career goal and some common questions that you guys had. So my career goal is physician. I'm not exactly sure which specialty yet. It changes every day. Right now, as a junior, I'm studying for the MCAT, and then I'm planning on taking a gap year. So if you're on the fence or thinking about, you know, if you wanted to do a gap year, please feel free to ask me any questions about that. And feel free to reach out to me on Instagram as well. I have a page called Pre-Med Eats. if you have any questions that I am not able to answer during this session, please reach out to me there. Okay, so one of the biggest common questions was, do you need to have medically related experience? Yes, however, it can vary based on like what you're interested in. So like Sonal said, you can be an EMT, you can be a certified nursing assistant, a patient care aide, a medical assistant, scribe, etc. But you're going to want to have a mix of non-clinical and clinical experience. So your non-clinical experience is going to count your shadowing, which I would focus on in either if you're deciding in high school or even in your early years as an undergrad. And then I would get more involved with some of the clinically related experiences as you continue into your undergrad career. If there are opportunities such as being an EMT and things that you can do in your state or county at a younger age and you have the time, I would definitely recommend starting something like that. But you do need to have medically related experience. It's something that they want to see when you apply to a specific program or even into medical school. They want to see that you've experienced different sides of medicine. In terms of letters of recommendation, this will vary based on, again, if you're a high school student right now or if you're an undergraduate student. If you are in high school, I would ask professors that you not only enjoyed their class, but you got to know them, maybe like you ate lunch with them or you're involved in an extracurricular with them as well. And then for undergrad students as myself, it's a little bit more difficult, especially with COVID, to get to know your professors and you're not in the same high school classroom environment. I recommend going to office hours. Your professors will be more than willing to speak to you. And if you're like me, where some of my professors just don't offer a set time of office hours, just reach out to them via email. And when you form those connections, not only about the course material, but maybe you get to know them a little bit more about their hobbies and interests outside of class, those are the professors you're going to want to ask. I wouldn't ask a professor that, okay, suppose you got an A in their class, just because you did well in their class, if they don't know you or you don't know them, they're not really going to have much to say about your character. And you want that to come through in a letter of recommendation, because there's going to be tons of students that might have gotten an A in their class, but they might only know a few of them to be able to really, really reflect and talk about their character. Another common question was, what can I do if I'm determined to be a doctor but my grades aren't good enough? There are so many options, such as taking a gap year to pursue a post-bac, redo some classes, or even some master's programs. There's one-year master's programs, accelerated masters, etc. And so if you do have a low GPA when applying to medical school, there are ways to improve a GPA and to show that you can continue to learn and work hard prior to applying. Again, you can also retake courses that you might not have performed as well in. However, just be wary that retaking courses, they're not going to disappear in your transcript a lot of times. So universities and grad schools will see if you took a course for a second time. Another thing you can do if you find that your grades or your GPA is a little bit lower is try and up other areas of your application. For example, you can focus on the MCAT, and maybe getting a really great score on the MCAT can outweigh a subpar GPA or below average GPA. And then you can also focus on showing that you have a lot of clinical experience or a lot of volunteering and leadership. So ideally, you want everything to be, sort of in a balance. Great grades, good MCAT score, you've been able to check all of the boxes, but that's not realistic for a lot of students. And so really show where you can shine. So if you have been working as a CNA for years and years and years, great. You can show your experiences and your leadership and your dedication through that if you're lacking a great score on your MCAT or GPA. So this is a common question I get asked. Why am I doing a Bachelor's of Science in Biochemistry and a Bachelor's of Arts in French? And just because I found language very, very interesting in high school and middle school, I really think that taking a language and being competent in another language is something that's missing for a lot of students in the United States. And I think it will serve its purposes as well, not only towards serving a wide variety of patients, but to be able to travel and potentially serve patients globally. A long-term goal of mine, if it's realistic, is to work with organizations such as Doctors Without Borders, which is a French organization. So it's a really great skill to have under my belt. And then it's a really nice break from doing STEM classes. You get to know people. So like Sonal, if you have either business or French or something else other than your biochem major, it's just really nice to learn a different skill set. I chose biochemistry. I'm gonna be honest, when I was applying to different schools in high school, I kind of just picked biochemistry, not because I wasn't interested in biology or chemistry by itself. I just thought, I was like, oh, it'll be a great mix. But I would do more research if you are interested in specific courses. For Virginia Tech, biochemistry is a lot more chemistry based than it is biology. So definitely do your research when considering what courses each different university offers. Another question is majoring in the science necessary for med school? No, you can major in whatever you want as long as you fulfill the requirements. For example, one of my friends is a writing major, so she takes English courses, etc., but she's still going to get her prereqs done for medical school. So definitely, obviously, a lot of students will go the biochem, chemistry route, but it is not required. Another common question is what kind of extracurriculars should I take and what do colleges look for? So the biggest thing that I can say is definitely try and find leadership opportunities and ways to serve your community through volunteering, etc. So one thing that I learned, especially through high school and undergrad right now, is don't just join an organization or a club just to tick a box on a checklist. Like if you don't like English, don't join the English Honor Society just to say that you're in it. I think it's better to have a couple of things that you can dedicate yourself more to than to be spread out over 10 different extracurriculars. Some of the ones that I'm involved in are Delta Epsilon Mu. It's a pre-health fraternity at my university. So I get to interact and be friends with a lot of different pre-health majors, as well as people going to physical therapy, physician's assistant, dentistry school, etc. So it's a great mix of different pre-health students. An organization that I'm really passionate about is Teach for Madame or Teach for Madam. And that is an organization at my university where we go to elementary schools and we teach students French. And so, like I said, it's a really nice way to have a non-STEM related activity to do and to meet new people and to practice your hobbies in a not pre-med related setting. One thing that I started, which is a great example of leadership, is the American Medical Women's Association chapter at my university. So I just started that this semester, and it's a really great way to show your leadership, to show that you have time management, creating or even joining a new organization on campus and being involved on the executive leadership level is really great. And even if you're a high school student, definitely try and involve yourself and show that you can be a leader. And I'm also very passionate about the Make-A-Wish organization. I did a lot of volunteering with them throughout high school. And so as soon as I got to Virginia Tech, I immediately joined the Make-A-Wish Club there as well. MCAT tips. I am planning on taking the MCAT in January, so I don't like to give out tips on success necessarily until I do it myself. But I would say my biggest piece of advice is practice CARS, which is the critical analysis and reading section, and then review questions that you get right and the ones that you get wrong. So I think that makes you a really good learner to not only understand, like, okay, like sometimes you might guess and get a question right. So it's like, do you really know and understand the question? And then obviously review the ones you got wrong. In terms of how I knew I wanted to be a physician, I suffered with an autoimmune disorder when I was younger and had an illness. And so in and out of hospitals, procedures, surgeries, etc., sparked my interest in medicine. However, it wasn't until I was shadowing cardiac surgery and I got to know the stories of the patients, see them pre-operative care, post-operative care, and in surgery, really solidified why I want to be a physician. And I think if you are on the fence of whether or not you want to be a physician, I highly recommend shadowing. It gives you a great way to see what physicians do and how they work in a team with physician's assistants, nurse practitioners, etc. So definitely recommend shadowing for all of you guys who are interested in medicine.
Okay, great. Thank you both for talking with us today and talking about all these common questions. I'm sure I also have these questions, so I'm sure they have helped some people in our session today. So now we're going to begin the long-awaited Q&A section. We have some questions right now, but feel free to add more questions as we kind of continue the Q&A session. And yeah, be sure to use the format that we dropped in the chat like everyone else is using, or you can also use this format. Just make sure you include your name and who the question is for. So let's go through these. The first question is from Lisa. What did you write your essay when applying to St. Bonaventure's BS and MD program? What made you choose Bonaventure? Obviously to Sonal.
All right, so that's a great question. So I wrote my essay basically about how I had scoliosis when I was younger, and then how that inspired me to become a physician later on in my life, kind of tying that in. So first of all, the essay was about why do you want to be a physician? And then the second part of it was how can St. Bonaventure help you achieve that goal? And then I had to submit a secondary that was about how GW can help me achieve that goal. So the first part about it is I talked about, for Bonaventure, how about the biology program and how I loved it and how I was super involved in research, and I wanted to continue that at Bonaventure. And then for GW, I focused more about, since it is located in DC, how I wanted to be involved in healthcare policy one day. And as for what made me choose Bonaventure, it really is kind of a gut feeling. And I tell all of my high school seniors this when I'm giving tours as student ambassador. You can't really tell if the university is perfect for you until you do your research, until you go to campus and take a tour. And that was how it was for me. Bonaventure on paper is really different than what it is like in person. And kind of that close-knit community is what I was looking for when I was applying to college. In high school, I had a graduating class of about 80 students, and so I was pretty much used to having a small class size, having my teachers know me, being friendly with them. Yesterday, I played tennis with my cell biology teacher, so you definitely get that kind of one-on-one experience at Bonaventure, and ultimately that's what made me choose this program.
Great, thank you so much, Sonal. Our next question is from Sophia. Best examples of leadership for university applications, career opportunities during university. The question is for both of you. So Sonal, you can go first.
Okay, so I would say there's no such thing as best examples. Personally, I can talk about my examples of leadership, and they're all kind of related to non-medically related extracurriculars. So I talked about how I was the editor-in-chief of my school newspaper, how I was involved in the yearbook club, and how I was involved with a bunch of other non-medical related leadership positions. So all my leadership positions were not related to medicine at all. And as for career opportunities, so again, I worked at Hollister when I was in high school, not related to medicine at all, but I think that just goes to show that when you're applying to college or when you're applying to BSMD programs, they're not looking for like the perfect pre-med student. They're just looking for someone who pursued their interests and did what they wanted to do.
I agree. I don't think there's a best example of leadership. I think you show your leadership based on your interests and the things that you're involved in and the effort that you put into organizations or a job. In terms of high school leadership opportunities, being on an exec board, you can show leadership or planning an event or et cetera, or being a teammate on a sports team, for example. And so as a specific example, I was like the president of the Math Honor Society in high school and vice presidents of other organizations. And those are things that I was interested in doing, and I pursued over the course of my 4 years in high school. And then career opportunities, like Sonal said, they don't have to be medically related. I worked at a gym throughout high school, and then up until this past January, I was working at a gym. I worked for Kumon, which is like a math and reading center. So they don't have to be medically related jobs. And as long as you show your interest and your passion and you're doing something that you can reflect upon and talk about for admissions or writing essays, then that's what's most important.
Great. Thank you so much, guys. Our next question is from Chrislyn. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I'm sorry if I pronounce anyone's names wrong when I'm reading the questions. So her question, Chrislyn's question is, do you need to take math in high school or college as a requirement to get into pre-med? So the question is for both of you, and I can kind of think of the answer right now, but go ahead. Wait, I'm so sorry. How do you say it again? I'm so sorry.
It's Juhi.
Juhi. Okay, Juhi, you can go first, and then Sonal will go next.
So I had to take math in high school just for the diploma that I was doing. I did the International Baccalaureate diploma throughout high school. So math was a requirement. It actually was my favorite subject, believe it or not, in high school. In college for medical school, a lot of them do require a full year of calculus. So I took Calc 1 throughout the entirety of freshman year, and it was also a requirement for my major as well. And so I'm not sure if all of my schools need math, but I had to take it not only for the schools I'm interested in, but also it was a requirement for my major.
Yeah, I really don't have anything to add. Judy explained it perfectly. I was also an IB student, so I did take math as well, and I did take Calc 2 in college, but it's not because GW required it, it's just for my major. So it really depends. Check online or ask the programs directly.
Great, I actually would have said the same thing. Even though like I'm not in college, I generally a rule that you should definitely look at the college you're looking for. Okay, Rita. Rita asked, why a gap year? What do you plan on doing with that much time on your hands? The question is for Juhi.
That's a great question. So at first, I went through freshman and sophomore year of undergrad, assuming that I wasn't going to take a gap year. But I realized not only do I want to use my senior year to increase my GPA, I want to have the last 2 semesters of senior year to not only like gain more clinical experiences, but there's a lot of personal goals I have as well. One goal I have is like traveling back to India with my family before going to med school and staying there for a little bit longer. And so throughout, not only with COVID in the past like couple years, it's hard to take those long travel breaks when you are doing summer classes, winter classes, etc. So it was just the application cycle timeline for me. I figured I'm a junior right now. By next May, there's so many other things that I want to add to my application for medical school that I could use the extra senior year for. And then during a gap year itself, I plan on working either as a medical assistant or a scribe, traveling, and just enjoying a little bit of time off before, going through medical school.
Great, thank you. Okay, so the next question is from Sophia. How do you organize your time between university coursework plus extracurriculars? The question's for both of you, so Sonal, you can go first.
It's definitely hard. I know one of my roommates is in D1 softball, and she's not even here right now because she's at practice because it's very time consuming. So you definitely have to use those like little pockets of time in your day. So I know I have a tendency to like, whenever I get out of lab, it's like a 4-hour lab and all I want to do is like lie down in my bed and like scroll through social media, but you have to like come home and immediately like take out your laptop and like start working just so it doesn't pile up at the end of the day. That's not to say that you can't take breaks, that you can't take mental health days, but you do have to utilize those little pockets of time in your day because like you're scrolling on social media for 15 minutes and that turns into 1 hour to 2 hours and time flies by like that. So definitely try to manage your time well using that.
I agree. I definitely recommend using either like a Google Calendar or personally I use Apple Calendars to really plan out my day as well and see where there are large gaps of time where I can either take a break or work on homework. And then something I've started recently doing with COVID is giving myself a day where I kind of just do nothing. So if that means Fridays, I just do all the homework, do a lot of work. If I can, I try and maybe like, I can sleep in on a Saturday or whatever it is, giving myself just a mental break, go to the farmer's market, do my groceries, whatever, just making sure that I plan out the time to run my errands and to give myself a mental break, etc. And then with sports, I did sports in high school all 4 years. I would definitely say like when you have more things going on in a way, I don't know if this is just me, I plan my time better. You don't have as much free time and you have the same amount of work to do. And so if there's a deadline, you're going to get it done. And I think as for me, I like to keep myself a little bit busy so that I don't just like have large spaces of time where I'm just like, I don't have anything to do. So doing a sport or going to the gym or something is a great way to just manage your time, make sure you're still taking care of your health and getting all your coursework done.
Great, thank you so much for that advice. We have a couple questions asking how to kind of get medical related experience in high school and how to contact like doctors for shadowing. These questions were mainly for both of you, so how about Juhi go first?
So in terms of medically related experience in high school, I would focus on shadowing. I personally knew that I wasn't going to apply to like a BSMD program. And so I focused on like my other extracurriculars, etc. But I would recommend maybe your family practice physician, or if you're fortunate to have like family members that are in the medical field, reach out to them. If you don't, just cold email people. Like I would just email and say like, hey, blah, blah, blah. I'm a high school student and I'm a college student. I'm interested in shadowing. Here's my availability. Would love to talk and meet. So really put yourself out there. And then I think Sonal can talk a little bit more about EMT that I am not as knowledgeable on.
Yeah, definitely 100% agree with cold emailing. I had no one in the healthcare field in my family because mostly everyone's either like a school teacher or in the military. So don't have any experience with that at all. So definitely a lot of cold calling, cold emailing. I know when I was a hospital volunteer, I would see the same physicians over and over again. And so I would just kind of had to like muster up the courage to go up to them and ask them if they had any opportunities. And as for being an EMT, so I took my course for EMT when I was 16 years old. So I was a junior in high school, and it was definitely a lot to manage because I was doing like the EMT course. I was doing like the IB curriculum at school, and I was also taking like SATs and ACTs. So if you can take it a little bit before that or after that, I would strongly recommend it. I would not recommend doing it your junior year. But I think it's a great experience. If you go to your local like first aid squad, they usually provide you with the course. So I did not have to pay for it. And they also provide you with retraining. So now this past summer I recerted, and so that was also covered by them, because every 3 years you do have to recert. You have to take about 24 hours of elective credits and then 18 hours of basic EMT training. So I would highly recommend being an EMT. You get to sit in the ambulance, go on any calls that your town gets, even if you're not 100% comfortable being hands-on with it. I was super comfortable, so I did it, but I know some EMTs don't want to, especially if they're still in high school, whatever. At least you got to sit in on the call and experience what it's like.
Thank you both for that great info and advice. Our next question is from Lisa. She asked, what were your SAT/ACT scores? Did you take any SAT subject tests? The question is for both of you. So let's start with Sonal.
So I took both the SAT and ACT. I don't remember my SAT score, but I think I got a 35 on my ACT. And I did take SAT subject tests. I took SAT math and SAT bio. I didn't have like fantastic scores in them, but I did get around like somewhere between like a 650 to a 720 in both of them.
Yeah, I took both the SAT and the ACT. I wasn't the best at standardized testing, and I definitely did not know how to study for big exams like those. But I don't remember my ACT score, but my SAT score was a 1280. And then I took 3 subject tests. I think I took 4. I took chemistry, French, math, and history. So those are all sort of okay. Again, I don't even remember what it's out of, but I wouldn't take them if the schools you're applying to don't require them. A couple of the schools I did apply to were interested in them, but definitely if you're applying to a school that has a high SAT, ACT score, focus on that. I'm going to my in-state state school, and with my high GPA, they don't really care about standardized test scores, so I was fortunate in that sense.
Great, thanks. Wait, also, I have a question. Did you guys take math 2 or math 1, if you remember? I'm sure it's not really a big deal.
I think I took math 1. I don't remember.
I think I took math 2, if I remember correctly, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
I don't remember the difference, so I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I don't really know the difference. I just thought this Lisa might be curious on which one it is. Okay. Our next question is someone asked, Azul asked, why did you decide to study abroad? Could you explain the process? The question is for Sonal.
So honestly, I decided to study abroad because everything kind of worked out. So it was for 2 weeks over our winter break. And so Bonaventure's winter break is 5 to 6 weeks long. So that's an enormous amount of time. I had enough time to go on vacation with my family, go on vacation with my friends, spend New Year's and Christmas with my family, and then study abroad. So I had so much time to spend with everyone. So studying abroad over winter break wasn't the biggest deal. I know some schools only get like 1 week or 2 weeks off for winter break, but that's not the case for Bonaventure. And so a lot of my friends were doing it too. There was a group of me and 9 other students, and they were all in my year and they were all in my major. So I had my boyfriend go and my best friend go, and then everyone else was kind of like people I knew of, and I definitely got closer to them during the trip. And so that was also a big factor about why I decided to go. And the course that we were taking was healthcare ethics, which I thought was really interesting. And so that was kind of the third reason that I decided to go. And as for the process, I know we had to apply, I would say like September, and we got accepted by November, and then we had to pay our deposits, and then we got our tickets to Italy. So I studied in Perugia, Italy, which is like this small town. So that was also really nice because it wasn't in this like huge city like Rome or stuff like that. It was in this really tiny town, a lot of like local people. It was great. They had fantastic food. And as for paying for it, I had a job over the summer, and so that helped cover the costs. It was about $2,000 for tuition and for like the whole thing, for like hotel, food, all of that stuff. And then the plane tickets were about $1,500.
Great, that was so cool. Thanks so much for sharing about study abroad. I'm sure like I'm also curious about it, so thanks so much. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing, and right now that was all the time we have for questions. So if you want your question to be answered, feel free to reach out to Sonal and Juhi personally through their Instagrams. We'll definitely include the links to their pages in the email that we will be sending, the PDF of the slides and the video of the meeting. So yeah, right now we're gonna take a quick group picture. If anyone wants to join our group picture, like we're just gonna take a screenshot of the gallery. If you would like to join, feel free to like start your camera. I don't know like the term. It's like feel free to turn on your camera, and if you don't want to be included, you don't need to. And then if everyone could kind of edit their name to not include their last name or include only their first name, that would also be great. So we'll just take like 2 minutes to do that now. If you don't know how to change your name, I'm pretty sure you go to like participants and then you click on yourself and like you press like more and rename. Okay, I think we're good. Everyone on my screen mostly doesn't have their names. If you still have your name up as we take the screenshot, we'll be sure to blur it. Pranali, do you want to take a screenshot?
If there's anyone who wants to turn their camera on, that now would be great.
Oh yeah, now would be great.
Okay, I'm gonna take one more. Okay, 1 second. Okay, I'll count down this time because I didn't count down.
Okay.
Just in case you guys. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Everyone looks good.
Yay. Okay, that is all for our session today. I want to thank everyone for coming. Oh my god, thank you for the reaction. Okay, so I want to thank everyone for coming. Be sure to follow us on all of our socials and both of our guests' socials. We'll be sending out a PDF of all of the slides and the recording. We'll be uploading the recording of the event to YouTube, so you can watch back, you can take notes, you can you can kind of like save the slides for yourself. So yeah, have a great rest of your day, everyone, and hope to see you at another Teen Health 101 event.
Thank you so much.
Also, we'll be sending out a feedback form to all those who have registered and attended the event, so make sure to fill that out too.
Oh, yes,
Thank you.
too.